Assalamu alaikum, this is Ustadha Safiya, and today we're going to talk about some specific fiqh regarding women's fasting. So number one, we all know that when a woman is on her period, she does not fast. And what I would recommend is note down each and every one of those days so you don't forget to make them up after Ramadan. Number two, even if a woman is not on her period all day long, she's been fasting regularly, and then 5 minutes before Maghrib she sees that her period has begun, she actually has to make up that day. Inshallah, she gets reward for fasting that day, but she has to make up that obligatory day again after Ramadan. Also, if she's near the end of her period, say she's on the 7th or 8th day, it's nighttime, she's not really sure if her period is completely finished or not, and she waits until the next morning and she sees the next morning when she wakes up that she is completely dry, her period is completely over. She should fast that day even though she didn't intend to fast the night before, because it is a day of dryness. It is an obligatory day. Okay. As for people who are exempt from fasting, we know the sick and the traveler are exempted from fasting. And scholars have also said that that includes the pregnant woman and the breastfeeding woman. And this is specifically, something that a woman will make on a person-to-person basis. You make your own judgment. If fasting makes you feel sick, or you feel sick, fear for your own self or for the baby, then you may not fast. You will be exempt from those days and you will have to make them up afterwards. Similarly, for the woman who is nursing and she feels like she may lose too much milk supply if she fasts and doesn't get enough food in, then she may not fast during the days of Ramadan and she will make them up afterwards. Again, this is a person-to-person basis. If you do decide to fast during those days where you are pregnant or breastfeeding, make sure to consult your doctor and make sure that they're okay with you fasting and that everything's going to be okay. If not, take the concession, don't fast, and inshallah make it up after. I'll just share some advice I had that I did when I was breastfeeding, was that I fasted one day and I wouldn't fast the next day. That way 15 days out of the month I had done and 15 I hadn't done, and this was to keep up my supply, and alhamdulillah I was able to keep up the supply by fasting one day and not fasting another. Finally, make up fast. So we're all in that period where we're supposed to be making up our fast now. Aisha radiallahu anha used to make up majority of her fasts in the month of Sha'ban, so inshallah we do so as well. As for those who had make up fast from due to period or menstruation, and for sickness, traveling, for any of those reasons, so you have an entire year to make it up. You must make up your fast from last Ramadan before the next Ramadan begins. If you didn't have a valid excuse, you had 11 months and you just didn't end up making up those fasts and you really don't have an excuse, then the penalty for that person is they still have to make those fasts up. However, they also have to pay the Fidya. The Fidya is feeding one person a full day's meal. So for every fast you didn't make up from the year before, from the previous Ramadan, say it's 5-6 fasts you didn't make up, and now the next Ramadan is here and it has started and you haven't made those fasts up without a valid excuse, then you do have to pay the Fidya, which is feeding one person, a poor person, their entire meals of the day for that day. So it comes about in the United States about $10 to $12 per day that you missed is the feeding of one person. Now the question is, how about breastfeeding women and pregnant women who they missed all of Ramadan last year, and throughout the entire last 11 months they've still been nursing or breastfeeding and they haven't had the ability to make it up? Well, there is a concession for those people, as well as people who are terminally ill or they have chronic illness which would disallow them from even making up their fast, and that would be that you just pay the Fidya. You just pay the Fidya and you don't have to make up those fasts. This is the opinion of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu and Abdullah ibn Umar, as well as Sa'id ibn Jubair. They said for the old person, the sick person who can't make up their fasts, they just pay the Fidya. They can't even make them up later. And they said this ruling also goes to the pregnant and breastfeeding woman who can't make up those fasts, or it's very difficult year after year after year. She has the entire Ramadan missed because of pregnancy, breastfeeding. So they said that woman just has to pay the Fidya and she doesn't actually have to make up her fast later. There is also the opinion that she just makes up the fasts, or there's the opinion that she pays the fidya and throughout her life she intends to make up those fasts slowly over time. Whichever opinion you choose, just make sure you're doing something to make up for those fasts. Again, the opinion with the most ease is to give the fidya only, and this is a valid opinion from amongst the Sahaba, but definitely not the opinion of the majority of scholars. The majority of scholars would say even the breastfeeding and the pregnant woman would have to make up her fasts in the next years to come. Even if it may take a long time, she puts herself on a schedule where she's doing it twice a month or 3 days a month until she finally makes them up. If you have any more questions, please ask in the comments. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and Ramadan Mubarak.